But he has entered the pit lane in any case. So there's no point, you know, like, it was such minor contact. I can guarantee you guys I didn't give Tsunoda any damage. But we are now into P15. And oh, we lose the rear. Albon hits us from behind. And for the second race in a row, Alex Albon is out of the race. Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. And guys, welcome back to F1 22 career mode, the road to glory, driving for Williams Racing alongside Alexander Albon. Guys, heading in towards this episode, we've had some crazy ones. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the first 4 rounds of this championship have just been insane. And spoiler alert, if you haven't checked out the previous episode, make sure you go check it out, because otherwise you will receive one massive spoiler. And here we go. Guys, basically previous episode, by some miracle, not on pace, on luck and a massive gamble, we got our first podium on F1 22 career mode for the worst team on the grid. Yes, you heard me correctly. So if you still don't believe me and you just heard the spoiler, still go check out the previous episode, because it was absolute insanity at the Miami Grand Prix. But I've told you guys this entire season so far, our reality check is inevitable. And what better place to have a reality check than at a Spain without the S? Yes, we are heading towards the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. As you guys can quickly see, I'm quickly upgrading my driver a bit with the perk fund. We're only going to have money for one upgrade this entire season. But that is all there is to it. We are heading towards the Autocross Challenge, driving in the Aston Martin Vantage F1 edition. Guys, this is a freaking awesome car. Guys, I really love the supercars in this game. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the vintage F1 cars like old, but it's a nice new and funky addition to the game. So I really do enjoy the supercars. But in any case, while you guys watch me do the Autocross Challenge, by far still my favorite challenge of the supercars, as I completely miss one of the gates. But guys, heading in towards this episode, like I said, we talked about the reality check, and first of all, the AI are extremely good around Spain. And secondly, I'm still adjusting to this game. I am not very confident on this game yet, because it's a very unfriendly game towards the pad player. If you guys have watched any of my recent League Race live streams, you will know this game is not very friendly to the pad player. It's a very much advantage wheel and pedals players. But in any case, we can't complain too much. We are heading in towards this episode, and after the highs of the first few races of the season, I highly doubt points are on offer this weekend. But we will just have to make the best of it. Just have to see what happens, and we're gonna take it as it comes. But you guys can see the full Autocross Challenge here going through the gates. And it took me a few tries to get this, to actually, have a good opportunity to go for gold. But the basic thing about the Autocross Challenge is you don't want to just go, freaking throw the kitchen sink at it and go as fast as you can. That's not the point. It's supposed to make you realize to handle the car properly. It's a more of a slow and steady wins the race than just, balls to the wall, let's get it. You can try that method, and if it works for you, it works for you. But it's going to make your task 10 times tougher. Especially with some of the gates being so close to each other, and then they sit on opposite sides of the track. So you really have to go very slowly to make sure you actually make the gate. But this is the smoothest run we had. And we actually, as we get towards this middle part of the lap, it's a much longer one than the previous one in Miami. We come across the line to do a 28.78, and that is more than enough for the gold and 1,000 acclaim points. So heading into towards this episode, you guys saw that we had a few upgrades come to the car at the beginning of the episode. I actually talked over our engineer there, but in any case. Heading into towards this episode, we don't really have the funds to purchase any more upgrades. So we're heading straight into the weekend, and you guys can see here, we are still the slowest car on the grid, but the R&D chart looks as follows. Ferrari are still way ahead in the lead, with Red Bull and Mercedes very closely battling over P2 and P3. Mercedes are literally now just a pixel away from Red Bull. So the Mercedes are really a dark horse in this championship. Don't throw them away just yet. It's only round 5 of 16. You've got Alfa Romeo P4, followed closely behind by Alpine and P5, Haas P6, McLaren P7, AlphaTauri P8, Aston Martin P9, and ourselves and Williams on P10. But from P4 till P10, it's quite close. So the gap from us to Alfa Romeo, it's not as large as you would think. It's just more than Mercedes and Red Bull towards Ferrari. But if we start, getting in our major and ultimate upgrades, we will very quickly be getting into this midfield. We just need to wait for the stars to align and for the ocean to part ways so that we can actually get this car into, being a solid midfield car. But like I said, we'll take it as it comes, and this is just, guys, literally my warm-up lap in one of the practices. I think this was practice 33. And first of all, we're also driving the new layout of Spain with that stupid third sector, the start of the third sector hairpin has been taken out and made much wider. But the part of the track that needs to be changed is still here, the part we just went through, that final sector chicane, which is silly. And guys, what I'm showing you guys here is I actually had a gearbox issue for those keen-eyed viewers. I was missing fourth gear. So for this race, we are going to be taking a new gearbox, but we won't be getting a penalty because that rule where you have to run 6 races with a gearbox has been removed. So you've got a certain amount of gearboxes you can use in the season, but our first one is on its last leg. So that one is gone. We have gone for our second gearbox. We bring in a major aero upgrade to the rear wing, to the rear downforce. And shopping a bit around after we got our resource points and practice, I'm going for a reliability upgrade as well because the Williams' reliability is not as bad as previous seasons, and I want to keep that a thing. So you guys can see that I looked at the gearbox reliability, and then I just nope, MGUH, that's a very cheap one, 22% off, let's go for it. But guys, without further ado, it's time for qualifying. Let's go, baby! Straight into Q1 of the session. Well, what am I doing? Straight into Q1 of the session. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Straight into qualifying for the end of our first run in Q1, guys. Around the final corner, we open up DRS, head towards the line, and we do a 1 minute 18.8. And that to me was not a bad lap. We go back into the pit lane, strap on a new set of softs, and we do our second lap, and it's a very good run, and it's a 1 minute. Thank you very much. We just quickly made our engineer quiet. And this is the start of our lap, and not the end. But guys, the first lap was already good enough to put us P14 after everybody set their times. So as you guys can see, Hamilton did not have a good time as he is in P15 right behind us. So that is one driver that will most definitely improve as the session goes on. And one thing that I really quickly realized, because there's no rain looming here in Spain, the track evolution was quite quick, and the track got faster and it ramped up really quick. So you guys can see it through the lap, we are gaining heaps and heaps of time. Through this next part, we dip a little bit of a wheel onto that inside sausage curve, through the nearly flat out right-hander, open up DRS, onto this little back straight. Now, guys, the braking zone has gone on so much for this next part as I accidentally dipped my left-hand wheels onto those sausage curves. Like I said, guys, still struggling to adjust to this game, but I'm still enjoying it for what it's worth, but consistency for me on this game is going to be my biggest rival, if I can put it that way. But here we go, through the final corner, as we finish the final sector, we open up DRS, we come across the line, and we do a 1 minute 18.29.
Pitting this lap then, coming to the pits at the end of this.
Thank you very much, Mark. And guys, at the end of the quality session, I was just like, let's fast forward. I feel good, and this is where I made the mistake. I should have gone out for a final run. First of all, the club bosses everyone with a 7/10 gap to P2, but we fall all the way to last place on the grid. I honestly thought sitting in P9, P10, you know what, there's a big gap from me to the guys behind, and silly old me forgot about the track evolution. So obviously we're in last place, so let's take all new engine components, let's get the penalties out of the way. We haven't had a failure so far this season. Let's just get it all out of the way so we've got some spare parts come the end of the season.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix. It's a race which saw Max Verstappen take victory on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016, after that dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? The Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat out this weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Sergio Perez, and Bottas. Sainz, they've taken a grid penalty. Fernando Alonso, Magnussen, and Mick Schumacher. Norris, Joe, Pierre Gasly, and Tsunoda. Vettel, Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Alex Albon, Stroll, and O'Connor. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
That is what we will try, Mark, but I can't promise anything because this is going to be a very tough and long race. But guys, as you guys can see, we are last on the grid. I took all the penalties, and sorry for being cut off so abruptly. I didn't check my times very well on my script. But yeah, we've taken all the penalties, so we've got them some spare engine parts come the rest of the season that might come in clutch later on when other people have penalties and we don't have to take grid penalties. And guys, I basically just decided, because we're last place on the grid, I know this is going to be a tough race. Let's just try something out there. Maybe there's a safety car that helps us. We're going to go for the 2-stop. It's a few seconds slower than the 1-stop, but if there is a safety car, as you guys know, safety cars have been quite prominent in this season so far. We've got nothing to lose. And also new for this episode, you guys saw in the first 4 episodes, I did the broadcast version of the formation lap, and that is when I figured out that is why my starts have been so crappy, because the game doesn't heat up your tires as good as you, the player, can. So from now on, we will be doing the normal formation lap in the immersive settings of the game.
Go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please.
Thank you very much, Mark. That is the idea. But guys, we jump to 5 red lights, and it's go for the Spanish Grand Prix. Holy cannoli, that was a long haul. But we are underway for the Spanish Grand Prix, and guys, excuse me for cutting away from the formation lap. There was a very big error in my recording, and it was just unshowable footage. It was bad. As you guys see, we've got a Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes top 3 as the second Mercedes of George Russell and Carlos Sainz are going side by side. But The Spaniard in his home Grand Prix gets the best of the Mercedes driver, as we've now got Fernando Alonso and Valtteri Bottas going side by side, where the Finn gets the best of the second Spaniard in the Spanish Grand Prix. But Leclerc leads the way from Verstappen, and then Hamilton in P3. Then it's Sainz, Russell, Perez in P6. So Perez has got a lot of work to do in this race. When we jump back to our POV now, obviously you guys can see the tires are heated up properly. We can actually have a pretty good start. And you guys can see I just absolutely blow, I think there was Stroll over the line, as well as the car in front of me. And we head towards turn 1. I'm boxed in between the Aston Martin of Vettel here and the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. And into the first corner, there's a lot of fighting, and we just run it around the outside, take to the inside curve for T2. And that's a beautiful run as we head through turn 3, as we are right behind the Alpha Tauri of Yuki Tsunoda, as we have to take a little bit off track there to avoid maybe them sliding out a bit wide. But luckily the game said we could keep the position, so I'm not going to complain, because we are on the back foot for this race. As you guys could see, even in qualifying, even though I had a phenomenal lap on my second lap, we are still very much at the back. And I mean, Albon qualified P20 before the grid penalties were implemented. But there is Magnussen and Lando Norris right behind me as we get ahead of them. And now heading in towards the end of Sector 2 and into Sector 3. We are right behind the second Alfa Romeo of Guan Yu Zhou, the rookie this season, along with myself. As we head through this next part, we jump back towards the leader, Leclerc. And yes, it was the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll that was there at the back with me at the start of the race. But Leclerc is going to finish off lap 1 in the lead of this Grand Prix. And please, can we not have a repeat of the real-life Spanish Grand Prix where Leclerc's car just fails mid-race? But Leclerc leads the way from Verstappen in P2, Hamilton P3, Sainz P4. Perez is going up on George Russell, but Russell seems to go into the pit lane. He must have front wing damage that he occurred on the first lap as the cars just fly by, and that's an amazing noise and an amazing camera there. But not when overtaking is being done. But thanks to Russell pitting, we are up into P10, so we've had a phenomenal start from the beginning of the race. But guys, now that we are settling in, remember we are on the softs. These tires are about 2 seconds faster than the hard tire runners and about 1.5 seconds faster than the medium tire runners. So at this stage, we are only banking on our tire grip being more superior, as I have a little bit of a tank slapper there and have to take to the grass a bit there. But nothing too major. We jump onto lap 3, and you guys can already see as soon as the medium tire runners have rubbered in their tires, they are already quicker than myself. As Magnussen tries to go for a move here around the outside as we start Sector 3, but I give Magnussen a bit of a squeeze. But Norris, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly, all these drivers from behind are going to be on my high knee very quickly. As you guys can see, Zhou is already 4.1 seconds down the road. We don't have the pace yet at this stage of the season. And also, the Alfa Romeo ahead of me is a much quicker car. If you take, it's the best of the rest. It's the fastest car besides Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes. But we defend successfully from Magnussen as we have a massive little gander there going off track, and it's now side by side with Kevin Magnussen at the end of Sector 1. We are hanging it around the outside as we are just using our superior grip at this stage. But our car's pace, even though we've got superior grip, is not very Dundee. But you guys can see Lando Norris is also on the softs, and I think his teammate Ricciardo is doing the same. So we've got some interesting strategies for this race, so let's see what happens. We now look at Carlos Sainz making a move on the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton into T1. Sainz will want a good race here at his home Grand Prix, but Hamilton sticks it to him and he hangs it around the outside to the inside, but Sainz just has the inside for T3, and he is now into the podium positions, chasing after the Dutchman Max Verstappen. We have a quick rewind back at our POV as we are going now side by side with Kevin Magnussen, and Magnussen gets the move done. We jump into his slipstream and we go for a monumental dive up the inside of the Dane. But and that opens up the door for Lando Norris to go around the outside of K-Mag, and he is now into P11. And guys, it was quite clear the McLaren is no longer the car that it was at the beginning of the season, because Lando is pretty freaking quick. I'd be lying if I said he was not quick. Both the McLarens seemed to have some excellent pace at this race. So we were really on the back foot. I was just defending for my life here, because it might be for just one measly point, but it's 1 point that we need to try and maintain. As you guys can see, the Yuki Tsunoda is now without a left front end plate as him and Magnussen went on battling a little bit. But we now look at Lewis Hamilton. making an early pit stop for Mercedes like his teammate George Russell. And did Hamilton occur front wing damage going side by side with Sainz? Yes, he has. And the 7-time world champ is into the lane, and his race has just been ruined like his teammate. But Hamilton has gone into the hards. So guys, now Hamilton can take those hards to the end, but those final about 5 to 8 laps, those tires are going to be pretty short. As Ricciardo is now into the pit lane to get off of his soft. Of his soft sir. He is that is a scheduled pit stop as we are battling side by side with Lando Norris, and Magnussen is trying to move around our outside. It's a big, intense battle here between myself and the Williams, the Haas and the McLaren. But Magnussen is back up ahead of us as we are now going to dive it around the outside of the Dane and use this final little bit of grip that these softs have to offer. But you guys can see on my tire indicator, the tires are screaming out for help, especially the left front and the left rear, as they are already over 50%. Even the right front is over 50%. So there's a lot that these tires have endured, and we're only on lap 10. But guys, you guys can see I've also got a bit of front wing damage. And I don't know where I occurred it, because I haven't really made contact with anyone. But if you guys look at my indicator, the right front side of my wing is a little bit of lime green, so that means we've got damage. So heading into the pit lane, I will, just change the front wing, because I couldn't feel any difference. But on this game, as on last year's game, if your car has damage, it tends to deteriorate as the race goes on, especially if you go over curbs. So I was not willing to take the risk. We're going to dive it in. We're going to stick on our set of medium tires, and we're just going to see what happens further on in this race. As I need to try and come out ahead of Ricciardo and Hamilton as we are now into the box. And you guys can see also new for this race. You guys can see I've gone away from the broadcast type of pit lane. We're now into the normal pit lane strategy thing, because your pit stops are just that slight bit quicker. So you guys saw how the broadcast formation lap and pit lane scenes look. And now we're back to the immersive ways. And because we had to change our front wing, we have been jumped by Ricciardo as there's a massive crash into the first corner as Russell runs into the back of the McLaren and actually takes Yuki Tsunoda, almost takes Yuki Tsunoda with him. But what happened here? Ricciardo is minding his own business coming out of the pit lane, and Russell just completely misses his braking point as he tries to go up the inside of Tsunoda. Oh no, actually, it's Tsunoda who's trying to make a move on Russell around the outside, and it just pinches Russell into a position that he couldn't take. And that is Russell out of the Grand Prix, and the safety car has been deployed at the worst possible time for us personally, because we've just made a pit stop. We have just made a pit stop now, and we are going to be sitting at the back now. So we have been not just screwed by a very slow car, we are screwed by strategy now, unfortunately. And so we are going to be sitting pretty at the back and just trying to make the best of a bad situation. But I mean, what can you do? The leader, Charles Leclerc, is into the pit lane. As obviously all these medium tire runners, they will be able to go on to the end of the race on their hards. So Leclerc is in, Verstappen is in, Sainz is in, all these drivers are in, Perez is in, Bottas, Alonso, Schumacher, Zhou, Magnussen, Gasly, Ocon, everybody is diving it into the pit lane. So everybody is going to be on fresh tires. So once again, this is going to be a very tough race considering we are on a 2-stop. Unless there is another late safety car and we maybe be able to go onto that final set of softs with about 10 to 8 laps to go. Because that is the only hope we've got now. But coming out of the pit lane, the order is Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Bottas, and Alonso, who are still having a pretty neat battle there for P5. Now, considering the Mercedes might not be a factor for the rest of this race, because Russell is out and Hamilton is on an updated strategy thanks to his front wing damage. Hamilton can still be a threat, but I think Bottas and Alonso are battling for P5 as far as I'm concerned. And you guys can see coming around the final corner, we are in P19 in last place on our new set of... we actually gambled on our strategy, guys. I think we actually went onto the hards because the softs lasted longer than I thought they would. So yes, we've gone onto the hards instead of the mediums. And we can now go to the end of the race, but it might be quite a boring run because I think everybody in front of us are just going to run away completely. Unless we have a monumental restart. as the safety car switches off its safety lights, and it is now on its way back into the pit lane. And we are nearly ready to go back to green flag running. As once again, it is Verstappen sitting in a Ferrari sandwich, but it's quite clear that the Ferrari has got the race pace over the Red Bull. So Verstappen is going to have to be on defense from the Spaniard Carlos Sainz, as once again Sainz is going to be trying to do anything and everything to have a good performance here at his home GP. Leclerc's going very slow through the final chicane. He bolts, and no, he actually keeps it until the final corner, but he's finally away, and now we're going to see if that Red Bull has got the straight line speed to close up to Leclerc. He's got the slipstream, but it doesn't seem that the Red Bull is fast enough to close up to Leclerc, and Sainz is now right behind Verstappen, as everybody is just trying to go and follow their opponents, except for Yuki Tsunoda, as he's going side by side with my teammate Alexander Albon, and not again! Yuki Tsunoda has already lost the front wing this race, and now he's going to have to, he had to replace the front wing, and now he's going to have to do it again, as him and my teammate have made contact, and Tsunoda is once again on the receiving end. You guys can see we got past Lance Stroll we were ahead of Stroll on the restart, and now because Albon and Tsunoda are battling, they're holding up Tsunoda's teammate Gasly, and we are able to get into this little fight. So it's Williams v AlphaTauri, as my teammate is going side by side, but the only thing that's keeping Tsunoda in this fight is those soft tires around the outside full, the Japanese driver. But Albon has got the move, but Tsunoda's going for the run. Gasly has tried something. We go for a monumental dive up the inside of 3 cars, and we actually make it stick without any bit of contact. How we did that, I do not know. But that is the move of the race. You guys, just look at this. I just decide to be on as late on the brakes as possible. Okay, not zero contact, but we just nipped the front wing of Tsunoda. But he has entered the pit lane in any case. So there's no point, it was such minor contact. I can guarantee you guys I didn't give Tsunoda any damage. But we are now into P15, and we lose the rear. Albon hits us from behind, and for the second race in a row, Alex Albon is out of the race. No. What happened there? Guys, you guys can see, I'm just, minding my own business, and the rear of the car just steps. And that's one thing on this game that I've got a problem with. That is so unfriendly towards pad players. Now, I know I was a little bit offline there, so that is the reason the car stepped. But guys, the main issue on this game is, if you are driving on a pad like myself, when the car goes, it goes completely. Because it's almost impossible to catch the car when it starts oversteering. So that is what basically happened there. This car started to step, I got off the throttle, but it was already too late. The car just went round. And as soon as the car went round, I just put my foot back on the throttle to try and get it off the track. But that still didn't help because Albon still hit me. And to further make this race just wacky, okay, now guys, this is a glitch that I've been seeing on multiple F1 YouTubers' channels. There's a glitch where the game glitches between you needing to catch the safety car and stick to safety car pace. So everybody, even if they are not caught up to the safety car, is driving at safety car pace. That is why I overtook Stroll, because neither him or Tsunoda is going to catch the group ahead. So I had to get off of my fresh mediums, get back onto these terrible hards, and then close up to the pack, because I overtook Stroll, I had a 5-second penalty. So the glitch also screwed me, but that's the only way I was going to catch up to the back of the pack. Otherwise, I was going to be sitting behind Stroll, only going, midway through Sector 3 now. So we are back onto these terrible hard tires, which is I wanted to get off them because they are very, very twitchy and they are not fun to be on. But we're on them for the rest of this race. So besides me just having a problem with how easy these cars snap and how hard it is to control them on a controller, I'm now back onto the tires that I don't want to be on thanks to a glitch. So this honestly is pain without the S. This is pain. This is honest pain. But there's nothing we can do about it now. Let's try to make the best of a bad situation. But you guys can see getting points in this race is looking very, 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 very doom and gloom. So So we'll just have to see what happens. But we now jump on board with Lando Norris as he's going for a move up the inside of Sebastian Vettel. And around the outside goes Noel. He went to the inside to the outside for T2. He's on the inside for T3, but Vettel is still there, but not anymore. And Vettel is now down to P14 as we are going to go up the inside of the German to get ourselves up into P14 and him to push him down to P15. Because obviously Stroll and Tsunoda will no longer feature in this race thanks to the glitch. So basically P16 is the worst that it can get. But we now jump on board with Esteban Ocon as he is trying to go for a move on the Chinese driver, the rookie, Guan Yu Zhou. Into T1, the Alpine has got very good overspeed. Zhou locks up, and that's an easy move for the French driver as Zhou just loses a position, but he stays P10, and he's now under pressure from the Australian Ricciardo in the McLaren, who, like I said, guys, the McLarens really seemed that they had very good pace. But here comes Fernando Alonso on Valtteri Bottas. We've got an Alfa Romeo and an Alpine battle 2.0, but these are the two more seasoned veterans as Alonso goes up the inside of the fin, and Alonso gets himself up into P5. But look in the background, guys. They've got Mick Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton looming in the back because Lewis still wants this P5. But Schumacher is giving Hamilton all his days, and onto the inside goes Hamilton as he's tried to get the move done on Schumacher. It seems like not just at the game, but in real life, these two are glued together. Because Schumacher and Hamilton have had some exceptional battles so far this season. But Hamilton is up into P7 as he's now trying to chase after the Finn Valtteri Bottas. But because of him and Schumacher's battling, he's lost DRS. And Schumi is just like, okay, here we go. Let's battle some more, Lewis. And Schumacher goes up the inside of the 7-time world champion. Hamilton tries to defend from the German, but Schumi has got the inside on Hamilton through the very long turn 3, heading into turn 4. It is Schumacher v Hamilton, but Schumacher has got the inside. Can Hamilton hang it around the outside in a slightly superior car? He can, and he is now up into P7. Well, he defends his P7 very successfully. And we've got an engine blowout for Esteban Ocon on the penultimate lap of this Spanish Grand Prix. The laps have really flown by in this race. And he is holding up literally Zhou, Ricciardo, Magnussen. And it's bringing me into the fight as I've broken away from Vettel and Gasly. And all these guys are now battling away. We go up the inside of Lando Norris as they've been held up. Norris just shoves me off track. Oh my word, Norris just was like, no way, you are not getting past me. And he tries to shove me off track. I still get the move done. And I catch Kevin Magnussen napping as once again it's myself, Magnussen and Norris battling. And guys, we're up into P11. Is there maybe one slight little glimmer that we can get points if we can get Ricciardo? We come out of the final corner, but we quickly got to jump back to a replay as Ocon just didn't get out of the way, and I don't know why these guys just didn't stick to the outside and go past him. But as these guys are battling, Norris just leaves his inside wide open as he goes midway through the corner. I go up the inside, and you guys can see that Norris just literally shoves me off track. And Magnussen has a little bit of a tank slapper going through the right-hander, and that invites me around the outside. I pinch him towards the inside before we head into the final chicane. And we are now sitting pretty behind Ricciardo. So we've honestly got an opportunity of points here, but I drained my battery so much when I saw that they were being held up. I don't have battery to fight, so I can't make a move on Ricciardo, which is so frustrating, but we've still got that middle sector. We need to try our best to stick with the McLaren driver. But Leclerc has been dominating this race, and guys, I unfortunately missed it when Sainz overtook Verstappen, but it's got to be a Ferrari 1-2 here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Leclerc from Sainz, Verstappen will get a solid P3, Perez P4, and Alonso and Bottas are still successfully keeping Hamilton behind them. So my hero at his home Grand Prix is going to get an unlikely P5 for Alpine. Beautiful racing here from Alonso as well as from Bottas. Hamilton will get P7, but this is the battle we are interested in. And you guys can see I just don't have the mid corner and the mid corner grip as well as corner exit grip to get onto the back of Ricciardo. So thank you, Ocon, for giving me the opportunity, but not so much thank you to our car for not being quick enough to actually get on the back of these guys. Charles Leclerc wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Well done to Ferrari for a 1-2 and for Leclerc for winning, but we are just going to miss out on points, guys. But considering the pace of the Williams this weekend, I'll take it. It's not the end of the world. We're going to come around the final corner. It's not points, but it's still a solid P11 after the drama of this Grand Prix.
in parc fermé.
A real team effort then, which has paid off in spades. A great victory here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I really feel the track layout, combined with the track temperatures we saw today, suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. Let's see how the driver's standings have changed. And with today's impressive result, Charles Leclerc steps into the championship lead. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to O'Connor. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through a field like that in Formula One, so it was a great effort.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
Guys, what a Spanish Grand Prix. Honestly, the battle at the front was quite interesting. As you guys can see, Verstappen and Leclerc are now tied on points. Sainz is only 10 points behind them and Perez 14 points. There is still a lot that can happen in this championship. We are still sitting in P5, but Russell and Hamilton, if they actually finally have a good race, they are going to surpass me. As well as Alonso, Bottas, all those drivers from behind, guys. We are just aiming for a top 14 in the drivers. Honestly, we've fallen down to P5 in the constructors, which is expected thanks to Alonso's brilliant performance for Alpine. But we're actually still a reasonable amount ahead of Haas and AlphaTauri. So, like I said, there's still a lot that can happen in this season. But like I told you guys in the previous episode, we are aiming for top 7. So 7 or 8 in the constructors would be fine for me. But I mean, looking at the end of that race, if you guys had a keen eye, Sainz got the fastest lap of the race. He was chasing down Leclerc. Sainz had the pace to win that race. If he wasn't stuck behind Hamilton and Verstappen I know he was stuck behind Verstappen for quite a while. I'm sorry that I didn't get the overtake, guys. But he was stuck behind Verstappen for quite a while, and Hamilton at the beginning of the race obviously also cost him time. So if it wasn't for Hamilton and for Verstappen, Sainz could have honestly won this race. But like I said, there's still a lot that needs to happen in this season. 14 points between the top 4. Anyone between Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz and Perez can still win this championship. And there's still so much that can happen. It's only this has been round 5 of 16. So we've still got 11 races to go. And honestly, I'd be lying to you guys if I told you guys that I wasn't excited for the rest of this season. But it's our first race without points. I told you guys the reality check was going to come, and obviously looking at our pace, this was the reality check weekend. We've got a lot of work to do on this Williams car, especially chassis and aerodynamic wise. Engine power, not so bad. The car's reasonable in a straight line, but chassis wise especially, this car is terrible. So chassis is our main focus, aero our second focus, and then probably reliability third and engine power fourth. Not that I'm going to, absolutely just forget about engine power. But that is something that we can afford to neglect a little bit for chassis and aero. And reliability and power, I'll actually not put the powertrain fourth. I'll put the durability and the powertrain of the car on equal footing. But Guys, it's still been a very good and action-packed Grand Prix. We spun, taking out our teammates when we got onto the hard tires. We had a phenomenal battle almost the entire race with Norris and Magnussen. We three were just inseparable this Grand Prix, clearly. So the battling was good, the racing was good. We just didn't get points, but it's not the end of the world. Guys, heading on towards the next race, I think we're going towards Azerbaijan next. We're going to Baku next, my favorite track. I would love to get points there, but it's going to be a tall task. It's going to be a very tough ask, and we'll have to see what happens. But if we get the upgrades in that we've purchased before Baku, I think we might be able to sniff a P2. A Q2. If we can get this car into Q2, that'll be phenomenal. But like I said, there's still a lot of water that needs to run into the sea, and this car is still far from being the championship winning car we want it to be, and in later stages. It is a road to glory. It's going to be a while, but you guys are along for the ride with myself. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure before you click off the video to go like the video down below. I think this has been an action-packed enough video to deserve your like. It's been a good one. Make sure to go check out the links in the description down below. If you enjoyed this video so much that you want to share it with your friends, do so. Follow me on social media. Share this video with your friends. Tag me in the post of the story, and I will give you a shout out on my social medias as well as in a future video. And finally, if you are new to the channel and you are not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below and don't forget to ding that bell. Welcome to the family, iiTzAssassins. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!